Have you ever experienced this feeling? Every morning, after a full 8 hours of sleep, you wake up only to find your body still heavy, your mind foggy, and your legs feeling weak. Many people past the age of 60 believe that this is normal, that old age simply equals fatigue and decline. But the truth is, it doesn't have to be that way. In the thousands of patient files I have reviewed, one frightening pattern keeps repeating. It is not aging itself that drains people of their strength, but the very foods they consume daily at their dining table. Just one slice of cold-cut meat, a piece of white bread, or a crispy fried chicken leg, foods that seem so harmless, can silently trigger inflammation inside blood vessels, raise blood pressure without any warning signs, and slowly wear down the heart and the brain day by day. What is even more alarming is that you may not notice this clearly. It shows up only through subtle signals, that sluggish feeling after a meal, a sudden sharp pain in the knees when standing up, or memory slipping away on small details. These seemingly minor symptoms are, in fact, the body's silent warnings about a heart attack or stroke that could strike at any moment. The good news is you can completely change this situation. You don't need expensive medications, nor do you need to follow a harsh diet. All it takes is identifying the 4 types of foods that are quietly draining your body of energy and replacing them with 4 proven foods that fight inflammation, support blood vessels, and restore vitality after 60. In this video, I will reveal each one, counting down from number 4 to number 1. We will move from foods that cause only mild fatigue to those directly linked to stroke, heart failure, and dementia. And the surprising part is this: the most dangerous one is actually the food many people still believe to be a healthy choice. If you stop halfway, you may miss the very food you are eating every single day. This is not just a story about one meal. It is a story about your health, your memory, and your independence after 60. One small change today could determine whether you continue living healthy, sharp, and joyful, or whether you face unexpected health crises that no one wishes for. After the age of 60, the body begins to change quietly. Metabolism slows down, blood vessels lose elasticity, and the ability to fight inflammation declines. This means that every bite of food you take is not just about energy, it could be a silent attack on your heart, brain, and nervous system. Many still believe that fatigue, joint pain, and memory loss are just natural consequences of aging. But what I often see in my patients is this: it is food that lies at the root of that decline. The unfortunate truth is that most older adults do not realize this connection. They live with constant fatigue, post-meal sluggishness, unexplained aches, and think it is simply the price of growing old. But the reality is completely different. With just a few changes in food choices, many patients have regained alertness, enjoyed deeper sleep, stabilized their blood pressure, and rediscovered abundant energy, so much so that they themselves were astonished, sometimes within just the first few weeks. In this video, I will walk you through a list of 4 common foods that can leave you feeling tired, inflamed, and at a higher risk of stroke. At the same time, I will also introduce 4 other foods that are easy to find, easy to prepare, and have the power to protect your heart, soothe your blood vessels, and help you feel younger than your actual age. These are not distant theories, but simple, practical solutions that anyone can begin right in their own kitchen.
Dangerous food number 4, pork sausage. The 4th dangerous food on this list is pork sausage, a dish that appears harmless but carries serious risks for people over 60. For many, sausage is tied to childhood memories or a morning habit that feels hard to give up. It often appears in a quick breakfast, served with fried eggs, bread, or salad. Yet as you grow older, this familiar choice can quietly become a burden on your heart. Commercially processed sausages usually contain extremely high amounts of salt, 2 to 3 times the recommended daily intake. On top of that are preservatives like nitrites and nitrates. When cooked at high temperatures, these chemicals can transform into nitrosamines, compounds known to damage blood vessels and even increase the risk of cancer. Beyond that, the saturated fat in sausages thickens the blood, forcing the heart to work harder to pump it through the body. And over time, this constant strain causes the blood vessels to lose their elasticity. A study published in BMC Medicine, which followed tens of thousands of older adults for many years, revealed that eating sausages just twice a week could significantly increase the risk of colorectal cancer and cardiovascular disease. That number might sound distant, but think about this. If you've been eating sausages almost every day for 30 years, how massive would the buildup of harmful substances be in your body? After changing his diet, cutting out processed sausages, and replacing them with lean homemade meats, along with vegetables and whole grains, within just 3 months, his cholesterol and blood pressure improved dramatically. More importantly, he reported feeling lighter, more energetic, and more confident stepping into his later years. This shows that industrially processed sausages are not just a quick breakfast option. They are a dangerous combination of multiple risk factors: excessive salt, saturated fat, and chemical preservatives, all working together to create a heavy burden on the cardiovascular system. For people over 60, especially those already dealing with high blood pressure or elevated cholesterol, this is almost certainly a food that should be completely eliminated. So what's the solution? If you love the taste of sausages, try making them at home. You can use lean chicken or turkey, season with garlic, basil, dill, or black pepper for flavor, and prepare them by baking or steaming instead of deep frying. This way, you can still enjoy the food you like while fully controlling the salt, fat, and additives. Remember, removing processed sausages is not just about changing one breakfast item. It is the first step toward actively protecting your heart, keeping your blood pressure stable, and preserving your health for many more years to come. But if you think avoiding sausages alone is enough, you will be surprised in the next part, because the third food on this list seems light and harmless, often appearing in quick lunches, yet it can quietly weaken your heart, kidneys, and even your memory day by day, without giving you any warning.
Dangerous food number 3, deli ham and cold cuts. The third dangerous food on this list is packaged deli ham, cold cuts, and other types of industrially processed smoked meats. These are staples in the lunches of many older adults in America. They're quick, convenient, and easy to eat. Just a few slices tucked into white bread or tossed into a salad, and you have what seems like a light and simple meal. But the truth is completely opposite of what most people assume. Industrial cold cuts are among the highest sources of sodium in the American diet. Just one small serving, about 2 to 3 thin slices, can provide nearly half of the daily recommended salt intake. For people over 60, when the heart and kidneys are no longer as strong, consuming that much sodium is like piling an extra burden on the entire circulatory system. And it doesn't stop there. Cold cuts also contain inorganic phosphates and chemical preservatives. These are used to keep the meat tender, preserve its appealing pink color, and extend shelf life. But once inside the body, and after years of accumulation, they cause vascular inflammation, disrupt calcium metabolism, and impair kidney function. A large meta-analysis of over 500,000 adults in Europe revealed that consuming processed meats like deli ham increased the risk of heart failure by up to 42% and the risk of death from cardiovascular disease by 24%. For older adults,
Even just a few extra slices of cold cuts each day can mean higher blood pressure, and every rise in blood pressure is one step closer to a heart attack or stroke. And it's not only the heart and blood vessels that suffer, your brain is also affected. People who eat large amounts of cold cuts tend to experience higher levels of neuroinflammation, leading to chronic fatigue, memory decline, and poor sleep quality. These may actually be early signs of brain fog or even chronic cognitive impairment, conditions many people mistakenly attribute to nothing more than aging. The lesson here is crystal clear. The problem isn't about calories or eating quickly. It's about the very nature of the food itself. Industrial cold cuts are not a safe option. They are a ticking bomb for your circulatory system and your memory. If you want a healthier alternative, try preparing chicken, beef, or fish at home, slice it thin, and store it in the refrigerator for a few days. When you need a sandwich or salad, use this freshly cooked meat instead of packaged cold cuts. The difference you will notice within just a few weeks is remarkable. Steadier blood pressure, a clearer mind, and deeper, more restful sleep. And here's the worrying part. Many people over 60 choose deli meats because they believe these are lighter than fried foods. But the truth is they are not light at all when it comes to your heart and brain. If you often feel sluggish, dizzy, or mentally foggy after lunch, it's worth asking yourself, could the real culprit be those slices of cold cuts you've trusted for so long? Don't feel relieved just yet thinking you've avoided the most dangerous meats, because the food that takes the number 2 spot on this list is even more common and even more tempting. Crispy, savory, and rich, it appears in almost every party and family gathering. But behind that flavor lies deep damage to the heart, blood vessels, and memory, damage that few people recognize until it is too late.
Dangerous food number 2, fried chicken. At number 2 on the list is a food almost everyone has tried, and many people love so much that it's tied to family memories: fried chicken. Crispy, flavorful, and satisfying for both adults and children, fried chicken has become a staple of modern food culture. It shows up at parties, gatherings, or simply as a quick and easy dinner. But for people over 60, the hidden cost of this tasty dish can be devastating to health. Chicken itself is a healthy source of protein. However, once it's coated in batter and deep-fried at high heat, those benefits are erased. Each piece of fried chicken turns into a mix of trans fats, oxidized compounds, and salt, all working together to form a massive burden on the cardiovascular system. When cooking oil is heated repeatedly, it produces free radicals. These highly destructive molecules attack blood vessel walls, accelerate atherosclerosis, narrow arteries, and increase the risk of dangerous blockages. The chicken skin and fried coating absorb large amounts of oil, salt, and additives, turning the dish into a silent enemy of the heart. What's even more concerning is that fried chicken rarely comes alone. It is usually paired with French fries, sugary sodas, and sauces loaded with salt and sugar. This combination spikes blood sugar, disrupts insulin, and intensifies inflammation throughout the body. Younger people might compensate somewhat, but after 60, when digestive enzymes decline, circulation slows, and immunity weakens, the damage multiplies many times over. So what is the solution? You don't need to give up chicken entirely. Instead, choose chicken breast without the skin, marinate it with natural spices such as pepper, garlic, or ginger, then bake or steam it. This method preserves the good protein, minimizes harmful fats, and reduces the formation of dangerous oxidized compounds. Paired with steamed vegetables or a fresh salad, you'll have a meal that's tasty, light, and still protective of your heart. The important thing to understand is that fried chicken isn't just a treat. It can be a major driver of chronic inflammation, weakening blood vessels day after day. For those over 60, every food choice is a test of future health, and the changes you make today can decide whether tomorrow you will still have a steady heartbeat and a sharp mind or not.
But if you think fried chicken is the worst enemy, wait for the next part. Because the number one most dangerous food on this list is something many people still believe to be the safest and healthiest choice. And it is precisely this false belief that has turned it into a silent threat, eroding heart health and memory each day without being noticed.
Dangerous food number 1. Industrial chicken breast. The most dangerous food on this list may surprise you. Industrially raised chicken breast, the very food that millions of people trust as lean, heart-healthy, and low in fat. Many of my patients after 60 have tried to give up red meat, avoid fried foods, and instead eat boiled or steamed chicken breast every day as a way to protect their health. Yet the paradox is this: the very choice that seems safe is actually leaving them increasingly fatigued, inflamed, and struggling with memory decline. The problem begins with industrial farming practices. Chickens are raised in cramped cages, injected with growth hormones, and fed high-starch formulated feed to fatten quickly. While most of the hormones or antibiotics may not remain detectable in the meat by the time it reaches consumers, the long-term accumulation of these factors can still trigger chronic inflammation in the body. More importantly, industrial chicken breast contains far more omega-6 than omega-3 fatty acids, creating a severe imbalance. This imbalance is one of the leading causes of vascular inflammation, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular disorders. An easy way to remember this is to make sure your plate has at least 3 colors: green from vegetables, red or orange from fruits and root crops, and white from protein. If your plate is only pale white from chicken breast, that means you're missing out on essential nutrients that protect your heart and brain. What makes industrial chicken breast so dangerous isn't that it harms you immediately, but that it harms you silently. It wears down your body slowly, tricking you into thinking that fatigue, memory decline, or fluctuating blood pressure are simply the rules of aging. In reality, you can completely reverse this if you choose the right types of meat and diversify your diet. We have just gone through 4 familiar foods that can silently drain your energy, trigger inflammation, and raise your risk of cardiovascular disease after 60. But the question is, once you eliminate them, what should you eat instead to protect your heart, your brain, and enjoy lasting health? The answer lies in 4 anti-inflammatory, nutrient-rich foods that have been proven to prevent stroke and heart attack. And that is exactly what we'll cover next. Healthy food 4. Wild salmon. Among meats and fish that support cardiovascular health, salmon is always praised as a golden friend of well-being. But what many don't realize is that not all salmon are the same. The difference lies in the source. Farmed salmon, what you most often see on supermarket shelves, is high in saturated fat, low in nutrients, and may even contain residues of antibiotics or artificial coloring. Wild salmon, on the other hand, caught naturally from rivers or the sea, is truly the food that protects the heart and brain after 60. What makes wild salmon stand out is its superior content of omega-3 fatty acids in the forms of EPA and DHA. These 2 fatty acids calm inflammation in blood vessels, reduce platelet stickiness, and protect the endothelial lining of the arteries, all crucial factors in preventing stroke and heart attack. On top of that, wild salmon contains astaxanthin, a powerful antioxidant that shields nerve cells from oxidative stress, which underlies memory decline and neurodegenerative disease. I recall a community consultation where I met a 75-year-old man who proudly told me he ate salmon every week, believing it was the secret to staying healthy. But as we talked more, I discovered the salmon he was buying was farm-raised, pre-salted, and colored. I advised him to switch to wild salmon, cooked simply with vegetables, using less salt and oil.
6 weeks later, he returned to say his blood pressure had eased, his blood inflammation markers had dropped significantly, and most importantly, he was sleeping more deeply and waking up sharper in the morning. The wonderful thing about wild salmon is that it's not complicated to prepare. Just take a fillet, season lightly with sea salt, black pepper, lemon, and a drizzle of olive oil, then bake or steam. No fancy sauces, no complicated spices. Maintain this habit 2 or 3 times a week and your body will give you the answer, feeling lighter, clearer in mind, and enjoying deeper, more restorative sleep. Beyond cardiovascular health, the benefits of wild salmon also extend to the brain. A 10-year study showed that people who regularly ate natural fatty fish had a significantly lower risk of dementia, depression, and sleep disorders compared to those who did not. It's no coincidence that some of the countries with the highest life expectancy, such as Japan and Iceland, have long traditions of including wild-caught fish in their weekly diets. What's important to remember is this. When choosing salmon, always look for the labels wild-caught or line-caught. Avoid confusing it with farm-raised salmon, which contains more omega-6 and fewer nutrients. And if your budget is limited, don't worry. You don't need much. Just 1 or 2 small servings per week can make a big difference for both your heart and brain. And here's the surprising part. The next beneficial food isn't fish at all. It's a red meat that has long been labeled the enemy of the heart. Yet when raised properly, it becomes a valuable source of nutrition, rich in omega-3 and anti-inflammatory compounds, helping preserve memory and cardiovascular health well into later life.
Healthy food number 3, grass-fed beef. For years, red meat has been vilified as harmful to the heart. But modern science shows that not all beef is the same. The key difference lies in how it's raised. Grass-fed beef, from cattle raised naturally outdoors, contains higher levels of omega-3, less saturated fat, and is especially rich in CLA, a fatty acid with anti-inflammatory properties that protect the heart. In contrast, grain-fed, industrially raised beef is nutrient-poor and may even carry traces of hormones or antibiotics. Beyond heart health, grass-fed beef is rich in zinc and vitamin B12, 2 essential nutrients for memory, blood formation, and overall vitality after 60. Some studies have even shown that CLA in grass-fed beef helps reduce visceral fat, a major risk factor for diabetes and heart disease. I recall an older couple in their 60s who switched from conventional beef to grass-fed beef. They only replaced small portions in stews and ground dishes. After a few months, they were sleeping better, their blood pressure had stabilized, and their cholesterol levels improved significantly. This shows that you don't need much, just about 100 grams per week, prepared simply by light grilling or stewing with vegetables, is enough to provide nutrition without harm. It's also worth noting that avoiding red meat entirely for years can backfire. It can lead to anemia, muscle loss, and osteoporosis, making older adults more prone to weakness and falls. Grass-fed beef, consumed in moderation, offers the perfect balance, delivering high-quality protein while still protecting the heart. When buying, look for labels such as grass-fed or pasture-raised, preferably with clear certification. If that's not available, alternate with other protein sources like fatty fish or omega-3 enriched eggs. And now for an even bigger surprise, the next beneficial food is not expensive at all. It's small, affordable, and yet one of the most powerful anti-stroke shields that many people overlook. Healthy food number 2, sardines. Among all heart-protective foods, sardines are often underestimated. Cheap, simply canned, and sometimes thought of as a poor man's meal, sardines are, in fact, one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory foods for those over 60. Sardines are rich in omega-3, vitamin D, calcium, and easily digestible protein. Unlike larger fish such as salmon or tuna, sardines are low on the food chain and thus virtually free from mercury, making them safe to eat frequently. What's more, because you eat them whole with the bones, sardines provide abundant natural calcium, crucial for keeping bones strong and preventing osteoporosis in older adults. Sardines are also incredibly easy to prepare. You can choose those packed in olive oil and enjoy them with boiled vegetables, whole grain bread, or toss them into a salad. Sometimes all it takes is opening a can, adding a squeeze of fresh lemon and a sprinkle of herbs, and you have an instant, inexpensive, nutritious meal. Simple, but powerful. The sad truth is that many older adults overlook sardines just because they aren't fancy. But often it's the humble foods that hold the greatest strength. With just 2 to 3 small servings per week, you can improve sleep, stabilize blood pressure, and boost brain health. And if you think sardines are already the biggest surprise, just wait for the #1 beneficial food. It's something many people fear because of cholesterol, yet in reality it is nature's most powerful medicine to protect the heart and brain after 60.
Healthy food number 1. Clean animal liver. At the very top of the list of foods for heart health after 60 comes one that might surprise many people: clean animal liver. Many shy away from liver, believing it to be the body's toxin filter. But the truth is, if you choose liver from organic, naturally raised animals, it is actually one of the most nutrient-dense foods available, a true natural tonic for both the heart and the brain. Liver is incredibly rich in vitamin B12, vitamin A, folate, heme iron, zinc, and copper. These micronutrients play essential roles in forming blood, stabilizing heart rhythm, preserving memory, and lowering the risk of atherosclerosis. Deficiency in B12, for example, is a hidden cause of arrhythmia, dementia, and neurological weakness in older adults. No food provides B12 in higher concentration than liver. On top of that, liver contains choline and CoQ10, 2 vital nutrients that help the heart and brain cells sustain energy and prevent chronic fatigue. An analysis of more than 9,000 older adults in Northern Europe showed that those who ate liver at least once per week had significantly lower levels of homocysteine in their blood, a marker directly linked to stroke and heart attack risk. Interestingly, while many fear liver because of cholesterol, in reality it also provides compounds that balance lipids and help protect both the liver and the heart. Clean liver, eaten correctly, is more than food. It is a concentrated nutrient storehouse that builds blood, boosts energy, and supports the heart in a natural way. Sometimes it's the very dishes our grandparents ate long ago that hold the key to living healthy, sharp, and independent lives after 60. We have now journeyed through a surprising path, from 4 everyday foods that silently drain your energy, cause inflammation, and raise your risk of stroke, to 4 nutrient-rich foods that can fight inflammation and protect both the heart and the brain. If you recall, the foods to avoid included pork sausages, packaged deli meats, fried chicken, and industrial chicken breast. They all share something in common: high amounts of salt, harmful fats, preservatives, or nutritional imbalance that gradually weaken your blood vessels and brain. Many people eat them daily without realizing that these very choices are behind their fatigue, joint pain, and memory decline. But the picture is not all gray. We also discovered 4 foods that can reverse the trend: wild salmon, grass-fed beef, sardines, and clean animal liver. These are not complicated or overly expensive choices, but they contain exactly the nutrients the body needs after 60. They can reduce inflammation, stabilize blood pressure, sharpen memory, and provide you with lasting energy.
The most important message I want you to carry with you after this video is this: fatigue and aches after 60 are not destiny. They are not the price of aging. More often, they are simply the result of wrong food choices repeated year after year. And the wonderful truth is, you can change that, starting tomorrow. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Just take one small step. Replace processed sausages with lean homemade meat, swap packaged cold cuts for fresh roasted chicken, skip fried chicken and try baked salmon instead. Or simply add a can of sardines to your lunch or a small serving of liver once a month. Your body will respond with clear signals: deeper sleep, sharper focus, steadier blood pressure, and above all, the empowering feeling that you've taken back control of your own health. After 60, every meal is more than just filling your stomach. It is the way you decide how you will live in the next 10 or 20 years. Will you live in fatigue, dependency, and fear? Or will you live strong, sharp, and confident, fully enjoying your later years? If you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below. Type the number 1 if you want me to keep making videos about foods that protect the heart and brain, or type the number 0 if you feel you already know enough. I always read your feedback and will use it to create content that truly meets your needs. Living healthy is not magic. It is a daily choice. One small change at the dining table today could save your heart and brain tomorrow. And I believe that if you start today, you will feel the difference not only in your body, but also in your confidence in yourself. See you in the next video.